Hello, everyone, and welcome to Make It Make Sense with Jamara.
And Cletus, the most important one.
Wow. So today we're going to be discussing
men with powerful women. And we ain't talking about like push-ups and lifting weights. We talking about women who are pretty much from a couple of angles. The breadwinner in the house, the most recognizable in the house, or even somebody who just, you done looked up and you got a little something you ain't had no business having.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you done upgraded yourself.
Okay, well,
so let's talk about it.
Let's talk about Kamala Harris.
Yeah, that's the first one we want to start to. So big shout outs to her, man, for busting through the glass ceiling, man, and giving young black girls and black women in general someone to look up to and let them know that whatever happens can be done.
That's right.
Now,
Black girl magic.
Whatever happens can be done. Whatever you want to do can happen.
Whatever you put your mind to do, it can happen.
No, not true.
What?
I disagree.
Whatever you put your mind to do, you can get it done.
I disagree.
Okay, everything is in the mind.
If you don't have arms, you are not going to be a hug champion. You're just not going to do it. You can have it in your mind that you're going to be the greatest hugger ever, but it's just not going to happen. But realistically though, if you set goals and you can push to do whatever you want to, so that puts her husband in a position that no man has been in before.
And he has a new title.
And it happens now. You're a pastor. We're gonna talk about that from a bunch of angles. We got this thing. So now he's the what? He's the
first gentleman ever.
He's the first gentleman.
Yes.
So which confuses me. So let's talk about this thing.
Okay.
He would be. I guess you would call him the assistant first gentleman. Because what did we call?
First lady?
No, the first lady would really be, the first lady is usually the president's wife.
Right.
So
but because Kamala is the first woman, her husband is the first gentleman. She's the first woman vice president.
Yeah,
We've never had a woman vice president.
No, we never had a woman in any of those positions, but I still don't think he would be the first because technically the first man would be the husband of the president.
Okay.
Right? And so vice president, he would really be the second man. That's horrible. And he need no first man there. You still second. But regardless of the technicality.
Right.
He is not subservient, but he is seen as lower on the totem pole than his wife.
Than his wife. Okay, that's a good point.
Than his wife.
That's a good point because I want to know, Cletus, and to all the men out there, would you be okay with having your wife being in that particular position and then you coming in second place because they're in first?
Let me tell you something. Absolutely. Let me tell you, the perks I got from being the first man, man, sir, give them to me. Here's what most men would say. I have no problem with her professional life, having her be seen as higher than me. But once we get in this here house,
oh, that's what it is.
It's me.
Oh, okay.
It's me. And I even will feel like, and it's going to be a delicate balance because, and I'm sure he already has this mastered, but you also have to be able to be like, what she says goes on a lot of things because a lot of men, we even feel like we can step in on our wives' personal lives. I don't have a wife. I chose to be happy. But
you don't have a wife yet.
You need to stop speaking that negativity into the air. But I think a lot of men, we feel like we can even step into our wives' jobs and things. So like a lot of men feel like if their wife is working somewhere and things are happening that he doesn't like, he can be like, yo, I don't like this. You need to go do this. You need to be doing this. Look, I'm your husband. You need to say that or you need to do this. And expect the wife to carry that out, which is going to be really difficult with her being the vice president.
Right.
Like, so
she is going to have to learn to balance what she does at work. You can't bring that home. There's two totally different dynamics with that. So you may be the most powerful person at your place of business, but as a wife and a caretaker, when you come home, you have to let that go.
How do you turn that off, though?
It's really not about turning it off. I think it's about having your own set of morals and values that you just are not going to compromise on.
So how does a man, from a man's perspective, how do we do that in reverse? How do you get used to being lower on the totem pole, but then being strong when you get home? Because see, one of the things, I've coached for a long time, right? And I've always said you can start off hard as a coach and then ease up and people can still respect you. You can't start the opposite. You can't start off as easy or being a pushover,
right?
And then try to gain your ground. Like, man, they gonna respect you. Like, man, you was just soft yesterday. Man, ain't nobody respecting that. So how do you, as a man, every time we go out, I can't take the lead. We not here because I was invited. I'm your +1 every time.
Well, see, I'm not a man, so that's a question that you would need to answer.
That's a difficult.
Yeah.
And every episode we tune into our producer Esau just for a second. Esau, man, you got your beautiful wife Casey, man. All of a sudden, man, everywhere you go, it ain't about you. It's only about Casey.
Yeah, that's all the time.
Good answer. We gave him the Family Feud answer. I think it'll be difficult for a lot of men. Listen, the reality is the Secret Service don't work for him.
Right.
They there for her.
Now that is a good point.
They there for her.
Yeah.
At any moment she wants to, she can be like, hey dawg, leave him out back. Y'all need to protect me.
Or if they get in an argument or a disagreement, they'll take her side versus
they have to.
Yeah.
She the vice president.
Right.
Dog, can you imagine him even really raising his voice at her? Secret Service, like, he dead in the lawn.
But I will say this, because she was already in office, she was already, Senate of California, he's probably used to that role. This is just an elevated version.
But new levels, different levels, different devils is what they say. So every time you move up, man, so it changes a lot.
More responsibility, yeah.
Man, that vice presidency, having your wife as the vice president of the United States, where no matter where you go in the world, she is known. Ain't nobody know her when she was a senator. Like, unless you were really following politics.
Yeah.
You ain't know her. She came up, man. They just now learned how to say her name.
What's her name again?
It's Kamala. I remember the comma. Kamala. So you just got to remember it from there. Now old people ain't going to say it right. They're going to be calling her Kamala and Camel. Old Kamala Harris. I like her. But you got to know, man, that's been the thing. And you got to throw this in there. They got that whole racial element.
Right.
She's a black girl, white guy, and so now it's gonna be coming from all angles. And I know that they're used to having to deal with that. I know that she's had to deal with that from the black community, even though because we're just in a whole joyous state right now. She couldn't do anything wrong. We just like, we just want to get a black girl in.
Yeah. So
no matter if you got a white husband, we don't care what you've done on any of those fronts.
Yeah.
We just trying to show a unified front.
Yeah.
On having her in, but man, when she get that first black girl attitude, when that thing really hit, like when she get big headed, dog, you telling me. So let's look at it from your perspective.
Okay.
Because you're not married yet. Right now, but you have been.
I have.
But at that point in time, you weren't in a ministerial role.
No, I wasn't.
So now it's different.
It is very different.
Because now you're in a ministerial role.
Right.
People are looking at you in a certain way.
Yes.
Do you feel like it would take from your ability to effectively minister to people if they knew your husband was the one kind of calling shots, per se? I know women need to see an example, but they're like, man, she can't do nothing unless her husband say something.
Are you talking about, like, hypothetically, if I was married to someone?
Right.
Now, that's a good question. What does he do for a living? Hypothetically.
Not something not in that same
Not
vein.
in ministry at all.
He's not in ministry at all. He just manages a food line. I mean,
okay.
I'm sure you wouldn't be with a food line manager. We've already talked about your value in men, but
this is the thing.
He's on my side of it.
Hypothetically speaking, because I'm in ministry, I personally, and I know my purpose and my destiny and what I'm going to accomplish, I'm not going to be with someone or marry someone who's not in that same vein.
Ooh, that's rough. So you feel ministry should be just with somebody that's in ministry?
I didn't say that. But for me, and because I know what I am supposed to do and my purpose and my calling and my destiny, I have to have a partner who's on either the same level or higher in ministry with me.
Okay, but what if they was on a level lower?
If they're in ministry, it's fine. If it's God ordained and they're in ministry, that's fine.
So you could be the equivalent of T.D. Jakes, but as a woman, and be with Kobe Mitchell.
Who is Kobe Mitchell?
Exactly. That is exactly the point. Kobe Mitchell is it. We're gonna Google Kobe Mitchell after this is over, so you can be really weak. But if he's just a pastor, he's just a pastor. He's just a guy. just a guy. Esau is dying over there because he doesn't know. Look, your listeners is like, oh, she with Kobe Mitchell. She with Kobe.
Who is that?
But if he was just a no name
it's
preacher.
not about a name. It really is not. It's not about a name. It's about the purpose and the destiny that I have on my life. I have to connect with someone who's on that same level, who's in that same vein. I won't even entertain someone who is not.
So that's kind of what I'm saying. Like for Kamala, who's on VP level?
Right, but see, it's different when you are already married. That's just like when you're called into ministry and you're married to someone and God tells you, okay, you're called into ministry, but you're already married. That person didn't sign up with you to be in ministry, but you're already married. So that person is going to support you because you are already married.
So it's just tough. We already here.
But it's not that. It's that person. If you're married and this person comes and says, "I'm called of God. I want to go into ministry," you can either say yes or no. Most of the time, we're going to say yes because I'm already married. I'm already in it. That's just like if you want to start a business. Oh, babe, I want to start a business. I want to do this. Okay, I'm gonna support you 100%. But when you're single and you have options and you know what your destiny is, you're not going to choose someone who's the complete opposite of the direction that you know you're going to. I just don't understand the logic behind
Why
that.
can't a man just be in a support role? Why can it be that I'm not? Why can it be? And because I think that's where Kamala's husband is now. He's just in a support role.
He's already in the role though.
Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't have a choice, but he has to be in a support role. I think the same thing for any guy. I think if I were to meet somebody who was in ministry, after running away from her, if I had to come back and find myself trying to date her.
Listen, I never wanted to be in ministry.
Right.
That was not on my agenda.
But you have to, I think supporting would be just as important of us being on the same level. I think that, I mean, I can't say what you're dating, but I know some people probably out there that are watching and like, man, I'm in that kind of position. How do I do it? I don't think there's a right or a wrong way. I do think if you can't get somebody who's in it, somebody who at least supports it, I think should be important.
But see, you really wouldn't get that 100% support if they're not somewhat in it because they don't even understand the dynamics of being in ministry. Like, you can't, let's say we're not even in ministry. I just go to church. I'm not going to be in a committed relationship with a man who doesn't go to church, or number one, who doesn't have a relationship, because that's what's important, with God. There's just no way that's going to work. We're going into
that's unequally yoked. I give you that.
Completely different directions.
But again, there's still different levels to it. So me, I'm an entertainer. That would be like me saying I can only date somebody who's in entertainment, whether it be comedy, singing, stripping. I just my fault. I'm always we be going this way. My GPS just always says go left. That's just how it is. But if I keep going left, come on, God.
Come on back.
If I keep turning left, I end up right where I started. But
that's different. Entertainment, that's so broad.
But listen, see, don't belittle what we do. There are certain things.
I'm in entertainment too. I get it.
There are certain things that come with being an entertainer, being a full-time entertainer, that only people who are in entertainment will understand.
Right.
That they will only they'll get
right.
the work ethic, the rejection. Because this is a rejection-based business.
Pretty
you're going to
much.
get rejected way more than you're going to get accepted.
Exactly.
How to shrug off haters, because there's going to be people who
don't like you just because they don't like you.
Man, when I do stuff, anything I do that's national, man, you go in those comments and people just picking to be picky. Look, he got 2 nostrils. Most people only. I be like, most people have 2. Where are you finding these 3 nostril people from? You know, like, I mean, look at Cletus's hairline. I be like, I don't have one. How can they look at what's not there? But even that, like the whole, the biggest thing that I think that as an entertainer you find a hard time with, especially where at the level that I am currently, is the time commitment piece.
You mean time for a relationship?
Correct.
Right.
So they don't understand. You know, I got to dedicate this time.
That's true.
This time, and so especially when you first meet somebody, that's the most time-intensive time that 2 people have when they first meet each other.
You just said something so powerful. Time. this is the thing. If you don't know your purpose and you don't know what you're supposed to be doing with your time, I'm going to cling to you and take away your time.
Come on, Static
because
Clean.
I have too much time on my hands.
Come on, Static Clean. Get them hands clean. Lord, beat some snuggle. Look, speaking of time, we are running low on R. So let's put a bow on it. Let's make it make sense.
Yes.
How difficult do you think it is for a woman, and I want you to just give a woman's perspective, and I'll come back and give a man's. Do you think the major difficulty is, and a solution for a woman who's in a position where she's seen higher than her man?
I would say her being able to leave that at home. Leave it at work and not bring it home and learn how to submit. And submit is such a hard thing for us as women to understand, but you're submitting one to another and just allowing that man to be a man and never diminish his role and his position as the man in your life.
And I think that as a man, I think that we have to, if you have a woman who is seen in a position that's higher than yours, or she seems to be more important outwardly, I think the first thing you have to do is learn to drop your pride. Realize that her calling, her destiny, or what she is does not take away from what you are as a person. And then the second thing that you have to do is just be very, very supportive of what she does. Because a lot of times you'll see men will sabotage the woman.
Oh, wow.
To try to bring her back down on his level or to make himself feel better. So don't sabotage her. Push her as high as you can push her, man. And, if y'all married, you got to go where she goes.
Right. You're one.
I get to go in the White House just like she does. That's it. So listen, make sure y'all are tuning in every week, man. We both have amazing social media platforms that you can follow us on. You can be part of the JAMFAM.
Yes, Jamara J. Smith on all platforms.
And of course, I don't have anything that rhymes with Cletus. That's just only fetus is the only thing, and I don't think that works well.
No.
But you can find me on everything at Cletus Comedy, CLETUS Comedy. Make sure you tune in again next week because we have another amazing episode of Make It Make Sense. So make sure you tune in to Make It Make Sense with
Jamara
and Cletus. We love y'all.
Bye.
Peace.